Welcome to another episode of Art Can Change the World. It's where we interview artists and those who work in the arts world and hear stories about how art can actually change the world. And today we have a very, very special guest. He was a founding member of Run With It and now up to all sorts of cool things. We got Clint Velazquez in the house. So Clint, why don't you let them know what you're up to in the arts world?
In the arts world, well, thank you for having me. It's fun to be back in the Run With It circles.
Thanks for letting us crash your office here.
I know. This is like man, we're not practicing afterwards.
I know, right? Hours and hours in this office.
Yes. Okay. Since leaving, I have been prior to always with. I'm the executive director of Bass Academy of Music. It is a music school in Kansas City, Missouri. And kind of the focus of the music school is we help urban youth start to play an instrument. We do this to help them see their God-given potential and succeed in school and beyond. Just kind of the motivating factor, you know, it's like for a long time I was a guitar teacher and performer and such, and I'd had these relationships with these kids, and then that were like you're teaching them music and then they're sharing with you about their life and you're just like, wait, this is smoke on the water and you're crying about something. How is this happening? But you find like these relationships really mean something. You kind of get right into a kid's soul when you teach them music. And so living in the city, looking around and being like, hey, where do kids do this in the city? And there's a lot of organizations around that do things, but there's not a lot of organizations that help kids start to play. And so kind of the idea behind BAM was we're going to help kids start. We're going to do the things that are really hard to do, like put an instrument in their hands, make private lessons something that's available for a lot of families that are like, I don't want to drive past 435. You know, if it's a family without a car, you know, like, are we on a bus line? You know, those types of things, you know, things that a lot of us take advantage of, we don't even think about, that could be hindering someone from even beginning the journey of playing an instrument.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
And so I oversee teaching. We've got 80 plus students now. We work with Operation Breakthrough. It's a organization in Kansas City that serves underserved families from like preschool all the way, or birth all the way to like 13.
So birth, like smoke on the water, 6-month-old,
you know,
doing a thing, right?
You know, there's a thing about baby Mozart. It works.
That's awesome, man. Well, would you mind sharing a story or two of how art or music has impacted you personally?
Oh, this was a hard one. I was thinking about like, because music's always just been a part of my life. You know, my dad is a music teacher, choral teacher, sang and been a part of music. Started playing instruments when I was in 4th grade. But there's one experience that I always point to that I was like, that was like life-changing for me. It was when I was 13. My family took me to go see Les Miserables on stage, and like I remember just like going in and just being captivated by the story of Les Mis, the production of how it's done, you know, like the way they're just able to take this empty stage that spins and, you know, just take canvas and then there's a new scene and then there's a new scene. The songs were just brought you in and brought you to tears, and I was like, you know, an emotional 13-year-old boy.
It's like empty chair.
I don't really seriously. And so there it was, like this amazing story, and it's like I want to do that. I want to tell stories like that. And I've just even thinking about it, you know, and just thinking about that experience, just like the story of Les Mis. You know, like now I've gone and I've read the book, I've watched the movies, you know, and it's like, you know, it's such a well-told story of like, kind of like dealing with forgiveness. Like Jean Valjean is like crippled by this, you know, by this grace that's been given to him, and just trying his best to like live out in gratitude of it, and like, you know, just how many people this affects and everything. And, you know, the story is told with this beautiful picture that's on the front, and then it's told with these amazing songs. The book itself is great. It's like, so it's the story that like impacted me greatly, and then just continues to. All through my life, and so it made me want to pursue musical theater. It made me, really invest in singing. It made me kind of look into all of these avenues of, performance.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. It's cool to hear how that story, from such a young age, still reverberates, drives you doing the things you're doing now.
Yeah.
And this may be hard for you to do, especially in your context, but would you mind sharing a story or two of how you've seen art impact others?
Oh, this is
Got your dog here.
my dog is going to come here. And she's going to join in the conversation.
I don't know if she's in the shot, but
No,
man,
but
she's super cute.
There's a few of them. Like going back to teaching, when I was teaching at a shop, one of the things I always felt about like recitals, that awful word that like there's so many wonderful memories of, like the worst thing you ever had to do with taking lessons. I just felt like that's not what performing is like. Why are recitals like this? And so my recitals were not, they were freaking awesome recitals. And like I would annually have the freaking awesome Christmas recital where, kids would be learning these like punk rock Christmas songs.
Which are very fun.
They're very fun. And then like, we get a drummer, we get a bass player, run with it, we play with them. And
we were a backing band a few times.
yeah, that was and we'd get these kids on stage and we're like, listen, you can't mess up. You're just going to go up there and have fun, and we got you. And there was a student that I had this one time, and it was his first time doing the recital, and all of the fear of playing was just in his eyes. His mom told me later on he was like this close to puking or passing out, and she kind of thought both were going to happen.
Right, at the same time.
At the same time.
Oh.
It would have been gross. But, like, and he got to be his turn, and I kind of looked at him, and I was like, this is going to be a turning moment for you in your life right now, and I'm just going to tell you to get up on the stage with, like, no compassion. Nothing, like, get on stage and play. And he got up there, and he went through his song, and like afterwards, like there was a spark in his eyes. It was just like he had found joy. He had found that thing of like what it's like to get up on stage and play. That's and awesome, overcome this huge obstacle, this crippling fear. And it was like, yeah. And like just year after year, he was like, couldn't wait to get up on stage, and he was trying to work out his guitar moves and holding the hand up and
the
stuff.
important stuff.
Yeah, it is
very,
really
very
important. If you get your scale right. Teacher in me coming out. So like that one, like just always comes to mind of like just how far he went from like I'm terrified to like this is amazing. This is something I want to spend so much time and energy doing.
That's awesome, man.
Then kind of another one that I had it was a realization for me too of for BAM, it's like now that idea with recitals, I wanted to bring it into what we're doing. We're working with much younger kids. We're working with just youth from from the city, not the suburbs. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, okay, what's going to be different here? But we had a recital, and the kids are all prepping hot cross buns, and Mary Had a Little Lamb, just like moving artistic pieces. And they get up there and play, and all of their parents are there, just watching. And, I was looking out, and I was like, I don't know if I've seen more pride in parents' eyes than all of these, like, tons and tons of aunts and uncles and moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas just watching their kids get up and do something, like, just make music. And it was that realization that, like, you don't have to convince people that art's important. You don't have to tell them, no, this is worth doing. It's like, we know it. Like, they were sitting there watching their kids play. They were sitting there watching their kids make music, and they knew that their kids were doing something of value and something that mattered, and they were proud of them. And so it's like those moments when you see that, and you're like, for me it was like, awesome. Yeah, it was for me. It was like I'm doing this for the parents even more than the kids now. I'm like, you should be able to give your kids those opportunities. You should be able to show your kids, you know, like tell your kids, hey, you have music in you, you have art in you, you've got beautiful stories to tell. And like, there shouldn't be hindrances to kids believing that about themselves.
Yeah.
And so like, that was, you know, just a powerful moment, you know, a powerful moment that I've taken to other people and been like, hey, you know this is important, so get behind it and support it.
That's
you
amazing.
know that art's important. So
I love it. I love that. You don't have to convince people
No.
that art's important. That's awesome, dude. Well, thank you for making the time.
Thank you.
And let everyone know how they can get connected to BAM and all that good stuff.
yeah, you can find us at bamkc.org. We're also on Facebook, the Twitters, the Instagrams, not the Snapchats. I can only do so much in my life.
That's true.
Without Daniel, it's...
It's hard to keep up on him. In fact, I just got a text. He said, "Hey, you forgot to do an Insta story on the last."
Of course. So, bamkc.org. Sign up for a mailing list. If you think that what we're doing is important, donate. Give $10. Give $15. Do you have an instrument laying around that you're like, man, I wish I'd played that? I know some kids that will.
Boom.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, thanks again.
Cool. Thank you.
More to come from the Art Can Change the World series. Sorry. He's been on me about not saying series, and he's totally right. So, here we go. All right. Now it just feels fake. I'm just going to have to get into it.
More to come from Art Can Change the World.
Boom! We'll use it.